Hello, I am Dominique Piotet. I'm the CEO of UNIT.City and I've been in Ukraine for 2 years. Well, first, every morning I try to go to the gym. So I drop my kid at the bus stop because he goes to the American school, Kyiv, at 7:30 sharp, in fact at 7:26. So, when you have kids, you're on a schedule, right? And then I go to the gym and then I arrive usually at UNIT.City about at 8:30. And I have a lot of meetings. Regular meetings every week, weekly meeting with the teams, with the construction team, with the ecosystem team, with the marketing team. We have a lot of those, and then there's a lot of events. UNIT.City is known for its events, so we organize them, I participate, I open them. We have a lot of delegation, embassies, clients. And then there's a lot of planning because UNIT.City is a startup. We are a small team to manage the park, to manage the development, to manage the financing, to manage the construction. So we rely a lot on our own energy and the way we build things. We really work as a startup. So long hours, very long hours, but fascinating because we're building. It's always what I say. It's there's two ways of doing things in life, is that you can build or you can enjoy. And a lot of people enjoy building. I enjoy building. But this is what we're trying to do. So there's no 2 days that look like the same. It's like we're building. So as you know, we have opened Kyiv as well. So there is a UNIT.City in Kyiv. It's really cool. Actually, it's super cool. I love the architecture, and it's very different architecture, very different feel, very different vibe, but same mission, same vision. And we will open Lviv later, hopefully this year. The first building is almost finished, and then we will see. Our goal is not to conquer the world, because I don't believe in that. But our goal is to share our mission and our vision. What we're trying to achieve from here is create local companies that are going to go global, but that will keep their culture, that will keep their European vision of things. It's completely different. It's a different proposition. It's a different design. And I think that's why we are unique, because we are unique. We're not trying to duplicate what others are doing. We're doing it our own way. So there is one thing I knew is talent. I knew about the quality of the tech talent because I have Ukrainian friends in Silicon Valley who are developers working for Facebook, Google. The co-founder of WhatsApp is Ukrainian. I knew about that. I heard about it. The second thing I knew is, and it's going to sound stupid, but I'm French, so it's important for me. I knew about the quality of the food. I knew that Ukraine was an amazing agricultural country. Products are great, the food is great, and honestly, that's really about it. I knew nothing else about Ukraine. So I flew in. I came to Kyiv for the first time, beginning of the spring. It was starting to have some leaves. The parks were beginning to open. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I came to UNIT.City for the first time. And then I was like, what? This is so cool. And I fell in love. I mean, instantly I knew, I'm like, wow, I'm home here. I feel home. Well, first I mentioned the food. I love the restaurants. Honestly, I think there's amazing restaurants in Kyiv. The second thing I love is being able to walk. So you forget about those things. In San Francisco, you can walk, but San Francisco is probably with New York one of the only city in the US where you can walk in the street. I mean, try doing this in Los Angeles, try doing this in Las Vegas. So here I can walk everywhere, and we have all those beautiful buildings, those amazing church. The third thing I think I love, and it's hard to measure it, it's the energy of the city. It's a city with a lot of energy. You have all those little cool bars, those small galleries, those underground artists. I like the size of the city in Kyiv because then you can find everything. I love that. And that energy, I feel it every day. They're not smiling at first, but as soon as you start to interact, people are super warm and welcoming. And people are inviting you at their house. and they bring all that food on the table, and I love it. It's like, honestly, people don't invite you in their house, but here they invite you, and you have a table full of this amazing food, and stalo and steer, and oh my God, I love it. Well, actually, it's very interesting because now it's been 2 years for me being here, and I realized that I was able to create a culture, a company culture within UNIT.City that is very close to what I had in Silicon Valley or what I like. And that culture is based on trust, is based on collaboration, is based on transparency. I don't know about other Ukrainian companies, but I know about UNIT.City. Those are my values. Those are things that were important for me in Silicon Valley, in my teams, in my companies, in my own company, in the company I work with. And those are the values I'm bringing to UNIT.City, to my team. So really, collaboration, trust, transparency. So we share a lot, we share everything. And the fourth one actually that is extremely important for me is empowerment. I want people to own their project. So for example, my marketing director, he knows what he has to do. He doesn't need to come to me, oh, can I spend this budget? Can I do this? No, it's your budget. We agreed on the budget at the beginning. We agreed on a roadmap. We agreed on an action plan. Build it, do it. And if things change it and adapt. And to me, it's very important in that way. I think it's more a culture, a startup culture than anything else. And I don't think it's like that in many Ukrainian companies yet. So that was a bit of a challenge for the team to adapt. And that's also an important point, something that I was afraid I would miss, is having a little bit of fun. We spend long hours, so if it's not fun, it's not cool. In UNIT.City, we are not trying to duplicate Silicon Valley. This is absolutely not what we want to do, because we don't believe it's possible, and actually we don't believe it's a good idea. However, we want to learn of the key components of a successful ecosystem. And those components are what you said: talent, money, and rebel culture. Let's call it culture to make it easier. So talent, we have it in Ukraine. We have tons of tech talents, extremely good. It's a growing community. It's good. It could be better, of course, and we're working on it. We have a coding school, we have a business school, which is important for us. Second, money. Money is tough, but it's just a commodity, and if you're good and if you're convincing, you will get money. Culture is a very complex one. The culture of Silicon Valley is a very old culture, and everything started in Silicon Valley with the Summer of Love. People being against the Vietnam War, it's hippies, a culture of counterculture. We're going to break things. We can do things differently. We can do our family differently. We have different values, and at the same time, in the same place, we invent the personal computer, we invent the microchips, we invent all those cool technology, and by the same people, by the way. So this is what I mean by culture, and this is really hard to create. It happened to be that way. It happened also that San Francisco was far from the rest of the US, on the West Coast, close to the ocean, and those kind of remote places usually are good places to create new culture. In many ways, Ukraine is kind of a remote place, a little bit disconnected from the rest, at war, so fighting against one of our neighbor, not completely connected yet to Europe. So in many ways, we have that zone that is not completely safe, which is actually good for entrepreneurship. When it's safe, it's not great for entrepreneurs. But entrepreneurs love danger. They take risk. Risk is part of the life of an entrepreneur. If you cannot take risk because it's not allowed, because there's no space for that, or because you don't want to, or you don't have the culture of risk, then you don't create companies. So we have that. We have the talent. I am not sure yet. We have to build that culture. And this is what we're trying to do in UNIT.City. This is actually why I always say this. I came here to create a city in the city with no experience in real estate. So someone reasonable should say, why is the CEO of UNIT.City, which is a real estate project, not an expert in real estate? Because this is not what we're creating. Because we're creating a culture, we're creating a movement, we're creating a tech ecosystem. And that is what is important to make UNIT.City and to make to make actually Ukraine unique in that sense. One thing is very important to understand is there is a global culture of tech. You take a geek in Silicon Valley, you take a geek in Kyiv, it's the same. They speak the same language, they often wear the same hoodie, they talk about the same thing, they're looking at the same series on TV. So there is a lot of similarities in that category of people. In some countries we don't have them, or we don't have a lot of them because of school, so one of the differences in Ukraine, we're lucky because we have a culture of engineering. So we have that background. We have those people who look exactly the same in every country, and I strongly believe that they wear the same thing. But the difference is, are there opportunity? I really have that strong theory that brains, especially or smart people, or the smartest people, they go where the opportunity is. And I'm not saying I'm a brain in any means, but in 2004, for me, working in tech in France, there was no opportunity. The ecosystem was not there, the financing was not there, so I had to go, I had to leave, and I moved to San Francisco. So if we recognize that we have those talents, which is the case in Ukraine, and we don't create a platform for them to consider this as their home, then we fail. Then they will leave to San Francisco, or they will leave to Tel Aviv, or they will leave to whatever, where they will feel the opportunity, because they fit in the landscape. So this is our duty, this is what we have to do to create those opportunities here. The best definition to me of an ecosystem is imagine the rainforest. The rainforest is the most complex ecosystem, biological ecosystem in the world. To have the rainforest work, you need all the components of it. You need the canopy, the very high trees that are going to bring shade, so the lower trees can grow up. You need all the little animals, insects, etc. You need the birds. You need and it's a very complex. So you need the humidity, but more humidity under, less on the top, etc., etc. So an ecosystem is diversity, but a diversity of people going in the same direction, building a forest. So forest, it's tech. So having an ecosystem means what? Means that we need students, learning codes, talents, we need accelerator, we need incubators, we need startups, we need larger companies doing innovation, we need funds bringing money to this, we need events because we need network and we need people to meet together. We need a certain size. Like a very small, tiny forest will not thrive. And that's why actually UNIT.City is big. I'm obsessed with this idea of scale. We need something that is very important, that is really hard to create, is accidents. Because innovation always happens by accident. Well, very simple, money. We need financing, we need to finance this, and because we are Ukraine, it's hard to convince people. It took us more than 2 years to convince the European Investment Bank to loan us money. 2 years to get those first 50 million that they loaned to us. And it's so much work, such a hard work. So finding the financing to build this, to make our vision real, is an everyday challenge. It's extremely complex, and it's extremely complex not only because of the project, but because of the country. But money we are financed, we are well financed now, but was definitely one of the biggest challenge ever. But it's a challenge of every entrepreneur. Well, I mean, personal challenges is a lot. I mean, I moved my family here, so I had to convince them to move to Ukraine. We have business in California, so it's a lot of back and forth, it's a lot of travel. To me, honestly, the biggest challenge is the language, because I don't feel I belong as long as I will not speak the language. It's hard to have a deep, meaningful conversation with someone when you don't speak the same language. And of course, everybody speaks English, but it's not the same thing. If you want to understand the culture of a country, you need to understand the language. It's hard to measure success in anything you do. For me, my personal KPI is, do I still want to wake up early in the morning and go to work? Do I still have that passion? Is this project still my passion? Am I ready to sacrifice my nights, my weekends for this project? As long as I am doing that, I feel like I'm successful. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in my life or with my life. And the day I don't feel that anymore, then it's time to move on. Two ways of viewing life. One of them is career. I'm building a career. I am building this, I'm building that, and this is the path. I hate that. For me, I'm not interested in that. I don't care about a career. I want experiences. I want to meet people. I want to feel alive. I want to be passionate. To be that, you have to follow your instinct more than anything else.